we found ourselves in a new place. And it's clear here that we're not alone. Faces that we've never seen before. And it feels like we never left home.
There have now been, over the last few years, an industry of companies who provide surveillance technology to governments, specifically technology that allows those governments to hack into the computers of surveillance targets.
About the NSA spy scandal, we have seen lawmakers first deny and then defend the use of this program, as well as the agency and the court that overlooks the surveillance. We have seen an international hunt for Edward Snowden and a diplomatic standoff between the U.S. and numerous nations.
Nobody's looking at my stuff anyway, so I don't care. My argument for that is if you don't speak up for everybody's rights, you better be ready for your own rights to be trampled when you least expect it.
Anonymity is a huge topic in today's internet society. It has been proven that authorities are surveilling ordinary citizens on a global scale. You and me. Henceforth, people are becoming more and more conscious about their privacy. To get past the eyes of authorities and to be able to stay anonymous, you will need to get familiar with a little something called the Onion Router, or Tor. Tor is a network consisting of virtual tunnels, enabling users to claim the identity of one another. Simply put, it is practically impossible to trace unique identities within this large tunneling network. Messages are repeatedly encrypted and then sent through several network nodes called onion routers, like someone peeling an onion. Each onion router removes a layer of encryption. Tor helps people to communicate without the risk of being monitored by the government. This is crucial in countries under dictatorship or in ongoing liberal revolutions. For example, during the Arab Spring, where websites like Twitter and Facebook were blocked.
I work a lot with activists in the Middle East and North Africa, and there it's not just that you'd like to be anonymous. There, the fact is that if you can't be anonymous, then you're going to end up in prison, tortured, dead. So for me, the right to anonymity is exactly that. It's a right. The ability to use technology to be able to anonymously say what it is that you need to say helps everybody, not just in dictatorships, but everywhere. And of course, those technologies will help and do help. We've seen that in the Arab Spring. We see it in anywhere where there's a repressive regime which tries to stop people to get access to information.
Jacob Applebaum says in an interview, because Twitter and other websites were blocked, people in Egypt actually used Tor as a proxy for their web browser. They knew that they could install Tor and they would be able to get past the internet censorship in their country, which was their primary concern. Liberals all over the world praise these new ways of expanding freedom for ordinary citizens.
Ja, jag heter Torbjörn Wester och jag är rättspolitisk talesperson för Piratpartiet och sitter också i partiledningen. Frihet på internet, det är samma sak som frihet i samhället i stort, eftersom internet är en del av vårt samhälle. Så vi kan inte ha vissa lagar och regler som gäller utanför nätet och en mycket restriktivare, auktoritär inställning till kommunikation via nätet. Eftersom alla de traditionella företeelser som folk har gjort utanför nätet tidigare, det använder man idag nätet till. Ekonomiska banktransaktioner, politiska samtal, privat kommunikation mellan människor, det använder man nätet till. Det är den här allmänna övervakningen av alla medborgare för att man tänker att några har något fuffens för sig. Och då har vi ett paradigm att alla ska massövervakas. Det är det som är ett hot mot det öppna, pluralistiska och demokratiska samhället.
Tor gives us the ability to be anonymous online, but if you combine Tor with new digital currencies, it may be used in forbidden trade on the black market.
This Silk Road website where people spend their bitcoins and they sell all kinds of nasty stuff.
The Silk Road. And if you're a vendor who would like a video review of your goods and or services, please email me at adam@adamversustheman.com.
So what is Silk Road and how do you access it? First and foremost, you have to know that the internet is divided into two sections. A perfect analogy to understand the deep web is to think about the internet as an iceberg floating in the water. Near the top you have sites like Facebook, Twitter, Google and YouTube. And near the bottom you have the more esoteric, more legally questionable sites such as 4chan and semi-legal torrenting sites such as the Pirate Bay. Below the surface of the water you have the rest of the iceberg, much larger in size than the visible part. And this is the deep web.
The most sophisticated criminal marketplace on the internet. Thousands of drug dealers used it to sell drugs and completely hide their...
The Silk Road was shut down by the FBI in October 2013. The founder of the website, known by his alias Dread Pirate Roberts, was arrested as a result of posting on public forums, which led authorities right to him. But that didn't change anything, as some predicted. Instead, it set off a so-called Hydra effect. Cut off its head, and two more will spring up in its place. Silk Road worked like any other online market, such as eBay or Amazon. The biggest difference is that there was a few to no restrictions on what you could sell or buy. In Silk Road's case, it was mostly drugs. So what does the law enforcement know about Tor?
Ja, vi vet att den finns. Vi vet att Silk Road låg väl där, bland annat. Och det är en av de anonyma möjligheterna som finns på nätet. Ja, alltså man blir ju mer och mer övervakad och man har ju olika inställning till hur man känner om att bli övervakad. Och vissa människor tycker ju väldigt illa om att vara övervakade. Så jag kan ha en förståelse för det. Men för oss, om man säger brottsutredande synvinkel, så är det ju anonymiteten ett elände. Vi har ju, jag då som jobbar med narkotika, till syvende och sist så ska ju narkotikan komma fram. Kan det ju vara så att postkontor uppmärksammar att någon person hämtar väldigt många paket. Och då får vi jobba med spaning och traditionell polisarbete mot den här individen eller så. Så tyvärr, jag brukar säga det att posten är nog en av Sveriges största kurirer av narkotika.
Simply put, when you use currencies like Bitcoin together with Tor, you can buy whatever you want, anonymously.
Tor is a system that allows for anonymity, and Bitcoin is a financial system that allows for anonymity, and so the two of them together just make it a stronger way to be anonymous. You don't need to use Tor to use Bitcoin, and you don't need to use Bitcoin to use Tor. They're two different things. But when you put them together, then they do open for an almost untraceable financial transaction. And that, of course, raises issues. It raises issues of things like tax evasion. It raises issues of things like people being able to buy illegal objects online. It raises all of those issues, and sure, those issues will have to be dealt with, but we can't deal with those issues by not allowing people to use the technology. We have to deal with those issues in the ways that we've dealt with all criminality, which is that we form laws, and the laws get pursued by whoever the police happen to be in that particular place at the time, and then we do it that way.
Websites like Silk Road don't accept conventional currencies. Instead, they use something called Bitcoin. It's important to point out that Bitcoin is in no way illegal and has no direct link to the established black markets. It's merely the payment method. So what is Bitcoin?
Bitcoin is the first and currently the largest digital currency. My name is Jonathan Force, and I'm a PhD student in information coding here at Linköping University. A cryptocurrency is a currency that is based on digital information. It is peer-to-peer. It doesn't need the middleman to exchange money. Because in most currencies, you always need a middleman. When you pay with credit cards, when you make wire transfers, even when you pay with cash, you need some kind of middleman. For instance, in the cash case, you need someone who has made the money, made the coins and made the banknotes for you to pay with. Many people believe that Bitcoin is anonymous, while in fact it's not. So every transaction that you make in the Bitcoin system is public, and it can be traced back to your address. It doesn't mean that the address refers back to you as a person, but any transaction you make with this address can be connected to any other transaction made with the same address. So the cryptocurrencies, they are here to stay. Whether we like them or not, whether we want to use them or not, people will still be able to use them. Some countries have tried to make them illegal, but people still use them because it's very hard to trace and very hard to stop.
But Bitcoin in itself, by the way, I mean, Bitcoin is not the important thing. Bitcoin is just a currency. The really important thing about Bitcoin is not what it is, but what it represents. That's going to be one of the big flashpoints in the future. It's going to be one of the big conflict points that we'll see. The right to own yourself. Because as we continuously do more and more of our interactions in an online space, then more and more and more of me is available in that space. And then the question is, who owns me?